Start for Trice. That's Chase, and what a start for Cincinnati. And he has the football. It's a move on. Bijan Robinson, he's got a hand. His first NFL touchdown. Gibbs out of the backfield right away. Oh, yeah, there's no question that he was grabbed. They got ridiculous. They got Gibbs one-on-one with Andrew Van Ginkel in space, and that was it.
And this is, again, it's man-to-man. It's one-on-one. And he's underneath. He loses his balance. Brock Bowers is one of those guys that has a huge... And this is...
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. It is release day of the schedule. It's like almost Christmas evening. We finally get to see, who's playing where, what weeks, looking into some games that we possibly be going. As you see, I'm flying solo today. I am Brant. Up there in this corner over here, that one watching is Bo. He is definitely in with us. He just has some issues going on. He was unable to make it live tonight. So he trusted me, not sure why, but we're going to give this a shot. First and foremost, the first thing that came out today, Derrick Henry signing a 2-year extension with the Baltimore Ravens. That is absolutely huge. Staying there in Baltimore, he's going to keep that run game going strong. That was a great way to kick off the actual schedule release. Don't forget, guys, get on the X and look at some of these videos of their schedule release. Some of these teams put together a phenomenal way of showing their schedules. And I'm just going to kick it off, and I'm going to rip this Band-Aid off. This is the one thing that everybody looks for. Bye-Geddon is only 1 week this year. Last year we had 2 weeks that were rough. This year it's kind of week 8. We got 6 teams that are going to be on bye week 8. That's Arizona. So that's your Kyler Murray, whatever running back takes over that backfield, Marvin Harrison. And then you got also Detroit. So you got Gibbs, Amaron, Goff. You have that whole that Lions there. And then you got the Jaguars with the new Travis Hunter, BTJ, Trevor Lawrence. And once again, whatever running back you trust in that backfield as we dig into that a little bit deeper through the preseason, everything else. The Raiders, I can really only say Brock Bowers for right now, and Genty. Maybe somebody else will come out of that offense and be fantasy relevant. Then you also have the Rams, Puka Nacua, Stafford. All of them are going to be on bye. Kyron Williams, and then you also have my Seahawks. They're also on bye week 8. This is one of the first times in a long time we've had a later bye week, so it's kind of nice to see. So that's your JSN, your Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet. Possibly Jalen Milroe by then is also going to be on bye that week coming out. And that's going to be a quarterback situation to keep an eye on. So week 8 is going to be a tough week. Make sure you plan in your redraft leagues. Make sure you really plan for that. That way you're not sitting there. Hopefully you're able to draft. If you end up drafting all these guys, you probably can afford to take a loss week 8. There are so many. Yes, Bo, there are so many names in week 8 that will be on bye. And that's going to be one of the biggest ones. And then one of the great things that we get to see is the way the NFL is going to treat us on opening day. And that opening Thursday is going to be a phenomenal division rivalry in Dallas at Philadelphia. Super Bowl champs Philly coming in. You get to see Barkley. You get to see Hurts, Smith, A.J. Brown. You get to see how Pickens goes with this offense in the very, very first game of the year. You get to see how Pickens fits in with CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott. And you also get to see yes, also new look George Pickens. You also get to see what that backfield in Dallas is going to look like. What a phenomenal way to start off the season. And then we got to start looking in. As you guys have to wake up early, weeks 4 through 7, we have international games. Weeks 4 through 7 will be early rise. The Fatboyz will be joining you live watching these games while we talk about your starts and sits, but you got to get in. You got to get those lineups in early on those weeks 4 through 7 and 10 and 11, and those will start out with Minnesota and Pittsburgh. Minnesota is a team that they're gonna break some ground this year as they go from Dublin, I believe, is their first game. And then they're going to fly over the very next weekend to London and play 2 international games that are going to be back-to-back weeks in 2 different countries. So it'll be quite interesting to see how that looks for that Minnesota team, especially with who's going to be the quarterback. Who's quarterback in that team? Is JJ going to be healthy? Are they going to go get Rodgers? Are they going to trust somebody else there? So that's going to be interesting to see with Minnesota. One of the things, Thanksgiving Day, Kansas City at Dallas on Thanksgiving Day. Yes, your Falcons got 5 prime time. I just walked in the door. I have not got to see our full schedule. I've seen everybody we play. I've seen what weeks. I didn't really look at times yet for the Seahawks full schedule. Yeah, you guys got 5 prime time. You guys had, what, 1 or 2 last year? I don't think you had very many last year. So that's definitely the NFL is giving you guys some respect on what your offense has been able to do in that draft, adding Penix, adding London, Pitts, Bijan. You guys have done a lot of good things on that offense, and the NFL is rewarding you this year with that. So I'm going to go through first couple weeks with some of the best games as I look through the schedule. You got that very first week, we got week 1, Baltimore at Buffalo on Sunday Night Football is going to be a phenomenal. So many names in that matchup. So many fantasy games are going to come down in that week 1 to those final 2 games. And Baltimore and Buffalo are going to have a lot. You got your Henry, you got your James Cook, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, a plethora of wide receivers that are probably going to be sitting in your flexes later in that day. Then you go into week 2. Philly at Kansas City is going to be a phenomenal game. Get a rewatch that game. That should be an outstanding matchup there with Philly and Kansas City, the Super Bowl rematch in week 2. And then that's going to be followed by in week 3, you got Monday Night Football. You got Detroit at Baltimore. It's going to be a great game. Baltimore's got some great games in weeks, like I said, weeks 1, 3, and 4, as I have written down. I have them as one of the best games of those weeks. So the NFL is really going to hit us with something fancy right off the rip, with some good games. Get to see it, get to watch our fantasy matchups in weeks 1 and 3 really come down to the wire as you got your Sunday Night Football and your Monday Night Football. There's some phenomenal games in those first 3 weeks. And then I definitely want to touch base. It's going to be a short episode. I don't have a whole lot with these, as I'm going to dig in. Me and Bo will dig in a little bit deeper and really dive into these matchups and everything. But you got to look at this. I've already started looking at this. This is one thing I always do. Some tough defenses that teams are going to have to play at the end of the year. You got Jacksonville Jaguars. If you look at their playoff schedule, the New York Jets. So Sauce Gardner and the Jets have normally a pretty good secondary there. Then he's going to fly over there and go hang out with Patrick Surtain and Denver. And then they're going to finish it off with Indy. Indy normally has a good middle-of-the-road defense and normally has a pretty good secondary. So the Jaguars do have a pretty tough playoff schedule. And then another one is Green Bay, as they're going to see Denver, Chicago, and Baltimore in the playoffs. All 3 of those are known for having very good defenses. We saw what the Bears are able to do on defense, and in Baltimore's always there. And then Denver, we've seen, Denver keeps themselves in most games just by their defense, even when their offense isn't ticking. So those are going to be two teams that are going to have some tough playoff matches there in the secondary with the playoffs on the line. Some receivers that are going to have some big names. I mean, you're talking BTJ and Travis Hunter there for Jacksonville. And then you're talking, I'm not sure which Green Bay receiver we'll be talking about by this playoffs here. Lots of names there in that backfield. So yeah, the schedule's out. It's really here, guys. We got some preseason. You got revenge game. I think it was week 2 is DK versus Seattle in week 2, and then you'll have some more revenge games throughout the year. And Washington versus Seattle. Like I said, Seattle's the one I've dug in a little bit deeper. Week 14. Let me pull that one up real fast as you put out there. Oh, it's right here. So yeah, week 14, you got Cam Ward versus possibly Shedeur Sanders, whoever is a starter there in in Cleveland, which coming out of rookie camp, it does sound like Sanders is the one that's going to be looking better and moving on. So yeah, that's definitely going to be an interesting matchup. So the schedules are here. It's definitely time to start digging in. The drafts are really starting to you start to get your research in. We'll start digging into some of these defenses and tough matchups, and and we're really going to start getting into our rankings and mock drafts. And it's here. Like we get to see, it's almost like, it's cutting the ribbon ceremony here. The schedule's here, and it's time. And it's really time to get started. Hopefully we get back together next week live, and we'll dig into with a few more things with this schedule as we both get a chance to dig in. We both had some stuff going on tonight, but wanted to make sure we get it out there. If you have any other questions or want to talk more about the schedule, feel free to message any of the Fantasy Holics. Feel free to message the Fatboyz. But that is pretty much all I have with the schedule release. It's definitely going to be interesting, an interesting year. And as always, stay hungry and stay fat, my friends.